Okay, in this video I'm going to go over kind of a combination organization and tactics video. For those of you that missed it, or who knows when you're watching this video, I had posted a bunch of British training films just because there seems to be more of those out there than there are the US stuff. I linked to one video called Section Maneuver. It was basically squad level tactics. And in their video, and I've come across this same type of thing when I've done some research on World War II German infantry squads, they employ 3 teams. And these teams are typically 2 rifle teams and a machine gun team. So I thought about, it can be done in militia pretty easily. How would you do it? How could you organize it? How could you employ it? Well, first off, you'll have 3 teams based on a squad. A squad is going to be between 6 to 10 personnel. Larger than 10, I recommend splitting off, forming another squad, if you possibly can. But you'll have 2 fire teams and a gun team, and this will vary, okay? If your squad is 6 people, maybe 2 people per team. If it's 9 like this, which was kind of average that I seen when I was on active duty, 3 people per team. If you have a 10-man squad, you could go with 2 4-man rifle squads and the 2-man machine gun team. Or you could do 1 4-man fire team, 1 3-man fire team, and a 3-man machine gun team. How would you name them? Well, Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie, or Alpha, Bravo, Gun. Whatever you decide for how you'd want to do it. Remember, if you're using radios, you want brevity, so maybe Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. Or maybe you'll go colors. Red, white, blue, whatever you so choose. What should be in them? Well, first off, each team should have someone who's more experienced, a team leader or squad leader. In these 2 teams, I have the squad leader in this one, team leader in this one. We could have another team leader down here, or we just let them know that the senior most person down in this team, they're the one that's in charge. So they could be the gun team leader. Up here in our rifle teams, squad leader, team leader should have at a minimum an AR, preferably some type of grenade launcher like a 203 or its replacement that's currently in service, or Russian equivalent if you capture that, whatever it happens to be. You'll have 1 rifleman for sure who will be equipped with, if it's the United States, an AR-15 or an M16 or an M4. You're dealing with Russian type organizations, so you're dealing with AK variants, one of those. And then you'll have at least 1 automatic rifleman, if you can get a hold of it. 2, so you'll have 1 automatic rifleman in each fire team. They would be equipped with a squad automatic weapon. Examples, the US M249, NATO's FN Mini-Me, Russia's RPK. Now, down on your machine gun team, you're at a minimum going to have the machine gunner and an assistant gunner. If you got an additional person that's part of this team, that should be your AT person. They would not have an AT weapon like an AT-13 missile system, or a Javelin, or a Dragon, or other equivalents around the world. It should be some type of light weapon system along the lines of an AT-4 or RPG. Depends on the enemy that you face, what you capture from the enemy. I'll just get this out there now. I get these comments regularly from people. Well, why are you showing units with military weaponry? Militia or resistance organizations aren't going to have that. They're not going to have it in the beginning, but you train people on those systems so that when you come across one, when you capture one, that person knows to pick it up, and then they're supposed to fill that duty position. So at the beginning of the war, every person would have an AR, and then who knows, your machine gunner, when you would capture it, might have the saw. It might be the only belt fit you have at the time, but when you get a 240, an M60, a PKM, MG3, whatever it happens to be, that person knows, hey, I'm supposed to get that. The assistant gunner will carry an M4, an AR-15, or an M16, folding stock AK. I would really recommend this person have some type of carbine, because your assistant gunner has to carry the tripod and spare barrel for this weapon system. Now the ammunition for this weapon system is spread out across the entire squad. Everyone would carry 1 to 2 belts inside their assault pack, with the machine gunner and the assistant gunner carrying more than that in theirs. They may have 4 belts that he's carrying along with the one that's in the weapon, doesn't count that. This one may have 6. Who knows? It depends on what the person can carry, what you can handle, and what's available to you. Your anti-tank person should be equipped with a lighter weapon, like an M4 carbine, folding stock AK, or an equivalent, because they have to lug around the anti-tank weapon. It could be an RPG-7, it could be a couple AT-4s. If you have any M72 law rockets or RPG-18s, have one person in each fire team carry one, and the person that should carry it is probably that rifleman, so that you have that additional asset inside your fire teams. Now, how would something like this work? I took kind of the example from that section maneuver video, changed it a little bit because I don't remember it exactly, because it's been about a week since I watched it. But in their scenario, they had to search some wood lines where they suspected enemy personnel were at, because people had seen movement in there, one person carrying an AK. This was a Cold War era training film. So a squad was dispatched to check this wood line. The area in front of the wood line was fairly open, some light bush clumps down here. Up here, it was a little bit thicker brush, a few trees and stuff. Well, up inside here were a few weapons positions, or fighting positions. The team came up, they were spread out in a wedge formation, or an equivalent. When you're in a wedge formation, typically your machine gun is either going to be located in the middle or on one of the flanks. When they started taking fire from the woods from these 2 positions up here, they got online to develop the situation, decide what's going on. Squad leader made the best assessment they could as to what type of enemy force they faced ahead and how they should handle it. Deployed the machine gun to the flank, a little bit of cover, because they were located on this side of their formation as they were coming up. If they were located on the other side, probably would have put them over here. But they were located over here, so he told his machine gunner and the assistant gunner to move over here. So we have our gun team takes up position, and they start putting in covering fire on these 2 positions that identified themselves by opening up. You had the rest of the squad is here online, and it's probably more than this. This is just what I could fit on here. They would deploy 1 or 2 smoke grenades, whatever they have available, put them upwind from where you're going to be maneuvering. So if the wind is coming like this, they would get deployed over here. If the wind is coming like this, well, then those grenades would get tossed over here as far as they could. Get smoke going across. Conceal your movements as much as possible. These guys keep fire, sustained fire on these positions. It's not going to be a continuous finger down, balls to the walls, full auto. It's going to be controlled bursts. 3 to 6 rounds is what you're supposed to do. A couple seconds or 1 or 2 seconds in between each grouping. This way you do not burn out the barrel on your machine gun, and you also do not use up all your ammunition. Remember, these guys are going to be over here with only so many belts. If these guys have an anti-tank person over here, they would fire the rocket when these guys are getting ready to move. Smoke's out, it's going across. They then are going to split and move. So you'll have either as individuals, so that you can keep sustained fire going forward, or as fire team. They come around, and then they would come up in here, and they would provide covering fire observation up in here, while the rest of the squad comes around and leapfrogs up into here. Once these guys are in position, these guys will reposition again also, so that you're going to have everyone now online up over here on the flank of the enemy position. At this point, you can use one of your fire teams as your support by fire, keeping watch in this direction. If this position or a position over here identifies itself, they start shooting this direction. These guys engage while these guys flank. While this is going on, these guys down here are still putting in rounds, but there needs to be a signal. It needs to be part of your battle drill. How will these guys know when they're about to begin their flanking maneuver? You can do it with radio. That's one option, and if you get a response back telling that they're set and they're waiting, then you start your maneuver. Otherwise, an explosion usually works. Tossing in, say, a hand grenade into here, it goes off, and then these guys know that, hey, I now need to shift and concentrate only on this position, not over here. When these guys are up in here, this is cleared. They've taken that position. They could signal. It could be with another hand grenade. Could be with some type of signal flag. Whatever you come up with for your battle drill. When that happens, these guys then cease fire on here. Maybe they're going to shift so that they're observing this direction to see if anyone comes squirting out running from this way. Then the same thing has happened over here. The team that assaulted this position, they take up the support by fire. These guys come up, everyone's consolidated in here, and then this team that was on support by fire, they become the next assaulter to take this position. But never discount momentum. If you're going through, you take this one and you can just as quickly take this position because they're disorganized, they don't know what's going on. Make sure these guys come up here, join you as quick as possible, and then you just keep assaulting down the line. Once you're in the line somewhere, there'll be a point where you're going to want to switch out who's in the support by fire role and who's in the assaulting role, so that people don't get burned out. You don't want to burn out your assault element. And you don't want your support by fire element getting a little bit too lazy, getting pissed off that they're not getting to engage the enemy. Now, even after we would take this last known position here, you still need to clear around here. Because maybe we don't know the other positions here, or maybe we seen someone running off in that direction. Same thing, this position's taken, the one that assaulted becomes a support by fire. Observation. They signal these guys, let them know, radio signal panel or whatever, that they're going to be moving again. If they do not have good eyes on, they can shift to the other side of these bushes so that they're now watching over here. Or they just plain hold fire until they get told they have to come up and join them. These guys become the support by fire, the ones that took this position. The ones that took this one then go on the assault again. And they go through and they check the next clump. Leapfrogging. Hopefully that gives you some of an idea on how something like this can be employed. I gave you tactics and organization. I can see how this actually can be pretty useful. How many squads like this would be in a platoon? Well, ideally, you're going to have 1 or 2 machine guns, so maybe 2 squads. But 1 squad for sure, the one that would have that belt-fed machine gun. And that belt-fed machine gun should be a 30 caliber type. Like I said, M240 and M60, MG3, PKM, or equivalents from around the world. If the heaviest weapon you have in your platoon, in your squad, is the squad automatic weapon, well then you use that as the machine gun. And then everyone else would have ARs, shotguns, bolt actions, whatever it is. Adapt as you go along and you get better equipment. Now, for all my engineer brothers in the Patriot and Militia movements, always remember, essay on.